welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Neil and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
Now, what if I wasn't here? You would be all by yourself in G+?
Yes, Neil, that is correct. If you weren't here, I would be all by myself with the exception of the 10 or 12 people in Discord. That's correct.
Need to have a meeting about this.
There is no meeting required, Neil. Everything is good. We have a live show. If there was no one in G+, and there was no one in Discord, I would still go live at 2 o'clock. And I would just talk. Now, there's a good chance that, let's say for the sake of argument, that I don't have something that I can immediately pull out my ass to talk about this morning, because I have no plan at the beginning of any live show what I'm going to talk about. But if for the sake of argument I couldn't keep this little babble that I'm going on now going, there's a good chance it wouldn't make any difference how many people are here. No offence to all you. You're not here to start my live show going, are you? I am. So what difference does it make?
Makes a difference. You want to start the show with a good panel on G+ and a good panel on Discord. Let's not play games here. How many years we're going at this now? And we can't have a decent crowd on both sides? It's getting ridiculous, and I'm going to put an end to this.
Look, it's sometimes you forget ahead of what the show format is, right? Because I had it being discussed the other night. I didn't say anything. I was just more intrigued to hear how you lot discussed it, so I didn't actually say anything while I was listening. But in terms of the show title, right, Flat Earth Debate. So after the fact, everyone's chatting about the state of Flat Earth. It's not being broadcast as far as I'm aware. But the general idea as well, based on the conclusion of whatever discussion was being had, maybe the show should change its name. It's not a debate. Now, typically, if I was going to pipe up, I'd say, well, it's just a namesake now. We know the debate is over because we've won the debate. That doesn't change the fact that the majority of the Western world still think they're on a ball. Therefore, ipso facto, there is a perceived debate about the nature of Earth. Most people think it isn't the way it actually is. Most people think it's a ball that's derived from flat Earth measurements. Therefore, there's a perceived debate, and given that there's been several thousand shows, I'm going to suggest we keep the name. Regardless of whether or not there is or isn't a debate, that's the name of this show now. It's not a state of the circumstance, it's not a state of the affairs in 2024, it's just the name of the show. Ergo, it won't change. But neither has the show actually indeed changed. So each and every single intro, there's me talking about, if you want to talk about the nature of Earth, there's a link below, and you can immediately join the Discord server. Now, to my recognition, I don't know if there's any new faces in there today, not that I can take a glance of and see. I don't necessarily know everybody by name. Unless someone pipes up in the next 20 seconds, I'm going to assume that there isn't any new faces desperate to tell me how wrong I am about Earth being measured flat. But that doesn't change the nature of the bar. You know, if you watch Friends, not Friends, Cheers from the 80s and go, okay, they're always the same characters in there. There's a very rare occasion when one of the characters that are regulars bring in someone new to the bar, and there might be an extra that floats in the background that doesn't have any lines. But for the most part, it's always the same people in the bar. But then once in a while, the introduction of a new antagonist comes along, and suddenly the story moves along for that particular character's presence. Well, that's what it's like here. We like Cheers. Just because there's regulars that come and they like their beer in a certain way doesn't change the fact that it is, in fact, an open door. It's a bar that anyone can stroll in when they hear, shock and horror, Earth's flat. Oh my God, I can't believe these people are on YouTube saying this openly live. Yeah, there's a door there. Just walk through it and tell us how we're wrong. Feel free. That's what we're here for. We'll educate you on your globe religion. No worries. But that is the purpose of the show. So how many people are in the bar when that happens? So what? I'll still be behind the bar polishing glasses. No worries. Sometimes I've worked in actual bars when they've been empty, Neil, when the doors first open and there aren't any alcoholics that desperately need to get through the door that morning. You know, you open the door and there's no one in the bar. It's not a problem. Go back to show number 5, when what you get for 45 minutes of the first 3-hour show is me every 10 minutes maybe appearing on camera and going, let's make an effort as I've got the live studio lights to turn on, but appearing on camera going, just by the way, if you did want to join Flat Earth Debate, be sure to click on the link below and you can come and talk about how Earth, you know, in my opinion, is flat and you might want to challenge that. So me sat here in silence for the next 45 minutes can be avoided by you clicking on the link below. I did that for about, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months of me appealing on camera for people to join the show. And eventually people did. And the ones that wanted to challenge us got quickly dispensed with and never wanted to come back. But, you know, me going back to roots, if for the sake of argument, let's just keep this going to a different extreme. If Flat Earth fell so far out of favour, or alternatively, I pissed everybody off around me so much that no one wanted to stand my presence, I'd still press live at 2. And I'd still invite fundies with a globe belief to come and discuss their fundy globe belief with me and be put straight. You know, nothing much would change. I mean, those are very extreme circumstances, and I hope people still take pity, because if they didn't, there's a good chance I'd be shutting down shop because I couldn't pay the bills anymore. So that'd be a different set of circumstances. But hypothetically speaking, my doors will always swing open, Neil.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm working on a schedule now that I am home and have time, and schedules will be handed out and people will be here on time. You want to deal with the questions now?
Like I say, when I open the bar doors, there's no, why weren't you here immediately buying drinks? If the customers come and they like it, they'll come and they'll sit at the bar. Norm! You know what I mean? So, I don't know, Neil. You've got a very weird set of priorities in terms of the show from that perspective. And like I say, it wouldn't make any difference if I was just appealing to the audience on camera and otherwise to click the link. I mean, I'm glad I've got people like Righteous that actually keep things like Discord ticking along. Thank you so much, Righteous. Sometimes you get stick and called the peanut gallery and things, but believe me, it isn't true. I'm glad I've got a support network for people like him. Good.
I'll give you, for instance, you go to Jim Pandas when he starts, there's 30 people lined up there, all in order, right down the line. Why can't we have loyalists? That's all I'm saying. At least have at least 3 or 4 people to begin the show, so it's not like, okay, here's Neil on G Plus and a bunch of people in Discord. I know they're gonna come in. I know that. We have no tardiness here. We're getting sloppy, I'm telling you.
I mean, I'm not. Mate, I've been dealing with a toothache for the last 2 months and professionalism, man. And I will blow my own trumpet and tell you how wonderful I am. I can suck it up and still do a show, Neil. No, it was nice that at least 1 or 2 times I leaned on the people. I sent a message out on G+. I'll just share this with the audience. And I said, look, guys, I'm in a lot of pain today. Please come and support me. I'm going to run the show. But if no one appears in the G+, I'm just not going to run this live show. And then several people did, and they kept the conversation going to the best of their ability. And by to the best of their ability, it is still my show. So I am still somewhat responsible and still am. Even now, I'm in a bit of pain. I'm not going to lie. But it's not a concern. You should just be chilling. Just enjoying the ride, right? Just enjoy who comes by in the bar without any obligation to wipe any tables down, Neil.
Can't. I'm invested.
If you say so.
Neil, if you were the producer of this show, what would you do?
First thing I would do is I'd have at least 5 panel members to begin the show that must be there at the start of the show in G Plus side. And Discord, there's never a problem. He's always have about 5 to 10 guys there in Discord. That's all. Just at the beginning.
Why?
Appearances. It looks better.
Yeah, I'm not that fussed. I mean, how I look in this particular genre isn't that relevant. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty vain. I mean, I probably could have had a tooth removed 2 months ago and I wouldn't be in any pain moaning about it. But in my opinion, that's not good from a vanity perspective. So, I'll deal with the pain instead in the vain hope that I'll keep a tooth. But that's because of appearances. But I'm saying, contrary to what is the reality of me, I'm not going to lie, that isn't my primary concern. My primary concern is that we've got the absolute best flat earth argument. And from that perspective, it's not about appearances. It's more about asking for, what's the word? It's like forgiveness, but it is support, I suppose, from the audience when I beg them to share the show. I'd rather be begging them to share the show because there's a very real reason why we would need to overtly beg for shares. And it's because we suffer censorship, right? Well, I don't know, when you're watching stuff that isn't necessarily going to reach everyone and you're like, I'm glad I've got this information. Well, there's a huge amount of my audience specifically that will go, I'm so glad that I've got this information and I'm savvy in this arena, or I'm savvy in regards to Flat Earth. I want next man to have that same privilege. They will share the show for that reason. But if we were talking about something that wasn't necessarily as hyper-specific and nuanced as we do, I don't think we'd get that kind of generosity. We wouldn't have 50 people as we have watching a few minutes after starting.
I got you. Your diligence is, I'm not even questioning you, Nathan. You're right on point every time. You start the show on time every day. You persevered through a lot. You said in the beginning it was just you for 45 minutes in silence and inviting people in. That's just a testament to who you are. That's great. Now everybody's got to get that attitude.
But that was at a time when I'd had the discussion with my wife, like, I want to be a YouTuber. I mean, maybe not. I mean, I might be mixing my timeline slightly, but for the sake of this example, it will be. After the fact, I've said, I want to be successful on YouTube. And at that point, you give it absolutely everything possible to make what you're doing a success there and then. And for me, it was Flat Earth. So what is a success in terms of Flat Earth? Well, we've now can answer that question because we've reached a point where we can tell an audience how Earth is flat. Now that you go, well, isn't that obvious? Well, no, it might seem like that would be the obvious thing at the start of this journey. That isn't what we got. What we got was Feast of Nonsense. What lots of people still peddle is Feast of Nonsense. What we, or I, if I'm going to talk about me personally, do is present Earth as flat with evidence for that fact. Pretty simple stuff. And it turns out that with that non-revelation, because it's actually not that big a deal, it always was, always will be flat. That's just how Earth is treated, measured, flown across, sailed across, charted, mapped. That's how it's dealt with. So it isn't actually that big a deal, as weird as that may sound. But the skullduggery, the nonsense feast that we all fed upon when we got here, led us all down a conspiratard route of seemingly massive deception and Illuminati bullshit that seemed like it was a much bigger deal than perhaps it actually is. Because in reality, Earth is happily functioning as it always has, and people are still measuring it and flying across it and sailing across it flat. Nothing much has changed, so it isn't actually that big a deal after all, weird as it seems at the end of this path. But the perception of Flat Earth is still conspiratorial, and we're all still deemed as nutters. And unfortunately, we're bundled in with that perception because we are ipso facto Flat Earthers when we tell the story of how Earth is flat. Measurably, navigatably, let's read out this super chat. SR Vasco, you are making history here, guys. Thank you, Nathan, for all your hard work. Well, thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. You are keeping the lights on here, SR Vasco. Thank you for your money.
Right. Rain, sleet, or shine, you got to show up, right? Like the mailman. If you don't,
Exactly.
Then that's, yeah.
Well, there's been a few times when I have genuinely been sick and I have missed shows. Don't get me wrong, I'm not that infallible. But by the same token, when I do hear about it. A lot of it from Neil. I'm only joking. Although I do hear about it from Neil. And people are creatures of habit, and I know that, which is why I like to keep a schedule. People get into a habit of watching the show. They want the show to be part of their day. And if it isn't, they get a bit narked about it, to be honest. You know, you owe me a show today. I'm a member. You're like, well, actually, I'm very sick and can't talk. You owe me a show. I paid. No, they're not like that. I'm just joking. But you get the idea.
Yeah. Last topic, was that about like the moon?
I don't know what it was. I'm just semi-distracted for a second. Can you hold the fort for a second, Neil? Now's your moment.
No, it was not about the moon. I don't think it was.
Oh, well, I want to ask you a
No.
question. How mainstream do you think it is now that people know we didn't go to the moon? Like, you know, the same way with the flat Earth. How mainstream compared to people saying, "Oh, they're nutty," you know?
Oh, I think it's a lot more than people think. There's got to be, if I was to put a percentage on it, I would guarantee that more than 60% of the people just in America know that that whole moon landing was bogus. Now, I don't know if they know why it was bogus, not how we know that it's a violation of first law thermodynamics. You know, you can't have gas pressure without containment. And how's this happening? They don't know that, but they know it's bogus.
63.4% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
They do it.
One way you can tell how mainstream it is how many mainstream documentaries are there about the subject. And it seems like the moon landings have hit like a certain extent of a mainstream documentary, right?
I think it's the age too.
Like for example, that the what was it? That moon documentary, that old one, where they wouldn't confess they went to the moon. Isn't that a mainstream documentary?
You're talking about astronauts gone mad?
Something like that. Isn't that a mainstream
Something
one?
funny happened on the way to the moon?
No,
one?
it's the one that
Yeah,
followed
that
it up, where he goes around interviewing them.
Yeah, isn't that a mainstream documentary? Relatively
No, it's a
mainstream?
Bart Sibrel documentary.
Yeah, Bart Sibrel.
Is that guy a mainstream guy?
Well, I mean, he's a journalist, generally speaking, but after the fact, according to his story, anonymously receiving moon landing footage that perhaps might not have been intended for him, or maybe it was, but definitely wasn't NASA's intention to send it him. Either way, he gets hold of this footage and exposes it on a documentary called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And he shows and exposes what he calls low Earth orbit, just people up in an aeroplane, in a plane with a round window that's got all the lights capable of being shut out, and then a cutout being put up against the window to make what is observed to seem like a spherical Earth with a Terminator line on a black backdrop of space. And then them constructing this from whatever they are in. Might not even be in flight for all I bloody know, but that's what he's presenting as his narrative in A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon by Bart Sibrel. Following that documentary was Astronauts Gone Mad, which is when he goes out and gets kicked in the arse by... Someone tell me who he got kicked in the arse by. Oh, I've forgotten which astronaut it was. Was it Michael Collins that kicked him in the arse?
Yeah, I think so.
One of them kicked him in the arse because he said, swear on the Bible that he went to the moon. He said, get out, you'll hear from my lawyers, and kicked him in the arse.
One of them punched him in the face too.
Yeah, he also got punched. Yeah, I mean, that was a different... Yeah, there's very rare... There's different occasions where he confronts these astronauts, asks them to swear on the Bible that they actually went to the moon, and they didn't want to do it. I think buzzed with, it's no problem, I swear I went to the moon. And maybe one of them, I can't remember. It was a long time ago I watched that documentary, but it certainly isn't mainstream, to answer your question.
Let me ask you this, Nathan. If you were to ask people from the age of, let's say, 15 to 30, what do you think they would say, as opposed to people from, say, 50 years old up to 80?
Yeah, why don't you speculate about this stereotype in a age-specific category there, Righteous? What the hell, Neil?
Well, because the 50-year-olds that 50 to 80, they're going to tell you that it was done. It's an American pride thing. We have the younger generation who's seeing it for what it is, a bunch of bullcrap.
Okay.
I can give a little bit of insight into that, Neil, in that particular age group. So, one of the schools that we work at, they actually do a class called Conspiracy Theories, and they touch on all of this stuff. And in the year 8s and 9s, which would be 14s to 15-year-olds, they do a quiz in relation to do they believe that people went to the moon. And when I first started working at the school back in 2012 till now, 2024, the amount of people, the amount of kids that have said they don't believe that we went to the moon has gone from 90% for to 10% for. So it's 10% of kids now at this particular school think that we went to the moon, and 90% don't. And that's in the conspiracy theory class that they touch on.
Very
Right, can I
interesting.
jump in back to
There you go. That's interesting
Yeah,
statistics. Go ahead, Righteous.
right? What's your basis that it's not mainstream?
Because what who cares? Does this
Can I give you
matter?
my basis? I just
It's
pulled up
just
the
a
wiki
word.
page and the
In
New York.
mainstream
Well,
means it's on the BBC, on the news,
let,
being talked about.
yeah, let me answer. Right, because I pulled up the Wikipedia page on the funny thing happened to the way to the moon, and the New York Times commented on it, the Birmingham News commented on it. That's mainstream.
Well, because a newspaper or two commented on it, that makes it mainstream, does it?
Well, it's a movie, right? It says it's a movie, and newspapers commented on it. That would be mainstream by definition, wouldn't it? Movie and people commenting on it,
I mean, I
like
guess so,
newspapers.
if you like.
Well, just to answer D-Monk's original question, if something, because my reply was, yeah, you can't trust statistics, right? They're all made up on the spot, pretty much, it seems like. But if something is mainstream, depending on how mainstream something is, of course, this may not be that mainstream, but it's got a blip on the mainstream radar. But generally, how mainstream something is how out something is. Does that answer your question, D-Monk?
How out
Yeah.
something is based
I
on
mean,
how mainstream it is. You're calling consensus mainstream. Are you conflating these two things? Because mainstream can put out
Well,
equally parts propaganda and true information in one story. So how
right, but
mainstream something is, I don't know. It's just what this word you've latched onto for some reason. Mainstream. Maybe I've
well,
used.
look at the
What, we going fishing or something? As QE would
well,
say.
look at the JFK. Look at the JFK. There's so many movies on it and stuff like that. Everybody confesses to that because it's out there. It's out in the mainstream, therefore mainstream.
Yeah, but I'm
I
sure there's
think it's
plenty of.
exposure.
By comparison, there's plenty of documentaries that people would claim are legitimate about JFK. But the movie JFK, Kevin Costner, would be mainstream, wouldn't it? Back and to the left. Right? All that shite. Yeah, that's mainstream, in my view. But who cares how we define mainstream? I don't know why you've latched onto this word.
I think he's saying more exposure. I think he's using mainstream for just like more people seeing it, more just a greater number of people seeing the thing somehow. I think that's what he's using for the
Yeah,
idea of
that's
the
why I asked
mainstream.
him if he
Are
was
you talking about
conflating mainstream with consensus.
Correct.
Are you
Well,
talking
yeah,
about hitting
mainstream is
critical
tied to
mass?
consensus.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, real Neil.
Go on, Neil.
Are you talking about if the subject hit critical mass where it's like tipping point or just hitting mainstream?
Well,
Tipping point.
yeah,
Oh, God,
critical
this is
mass,
driving
whatever's
me
in the
nuts.
mainstream is
Who cares?
whatever is.
What does tipping point mean? Why are we introducing these wishy-washy, vague terms to define how well we're bloody doing? Why do you care either? Yes, we are beyond the tipping point. We're just beyond the shadow. Does this meaningless try mean anything to us?
Yes, it does. We're running a flat earth debate show. And the more people that come to a knowledge of this, it's going to hit the tipping point and over, and then the paradigm will shift and change. What
Who
the hell are we
cares?
doing here anyway,
Right.
then?
If you care about the tipping point, just share the show. Listen to that little speech I had earlier and just pay attention to that bit. If you're
Do that
deeply
every
concerned
day.
about tipping points and consensus and mainstream, if you want to term it in that way, then just share the show. Share it with as many people as possible. Because it's never going to get shared with them by YouTube algorithmic love, as we well know. But you are the antidote to that as an audience member. So if you're like, when will we reach the tipping point? Share the show with everyone. Put it under everyone's, this show, my show. Then they'll know Earth is measured flat. That's all we talk about. And there's no drama about it. In fact, quite the opposite. We're trying to deflate the drama out of it. It's not that big a deal. It always was flat. That's how we measure it. That's how we navigate it. That's how we mapped it. That's how we chart it. That's how we build on it. That's how we reference it. That's how it's used. It just is flat. It's no big deal. It's not that big a deal. Don't worry about it. Get on with your day. There you go. Share the show if you want a tipping point or a consensus view about flat Earth. Me, I just know that I know it's flat. That's how it's functioning. And anybody who's using Earth in any capacity that's useful knows it's flat also, but might also simultaneously have a globe religion like the rest of the Western world, which they're perfectly entitled to. Now, anybody who comes here, hence share the show, will also know it's measured flat. Well, good for them. But I'm not too concerned about a tipping point. I'm not the hidden hand that wants control over the world and wants them all to see it the way I know it is. It just is the way it is, and I know that. And if you want others to know it, just share this show. But you're all worried about tipping points and consensus, and when will everybody know what we know? What will change for you if they all did? Let's pretend that everybody knew it was flat today, now, as we speak and discuss it. So the show still exists, and I'm like, yeah, well, I want to still talk about it. Only 3 years ago, everyone thought we were on a globe. Wasn't it funny? Now everybody knows it's flat. Isn't that great? Should we reminisce about how stupid idiots used to talk it was a globe? Because that's what my show's still called, Flat Earth Debate, right? Even though it's definitely not a debate anymore. Everybody knows. Okay. And does anything change for you, Neil? You still got to sort your back out and get your car sorted, new one, and get another job and support the family. All that doesn't change. Same here, Neil. Everything. So it's like, well, I've only got a limited time here. So life is generally good. You know, I've got a very supportive crowd on YouTube that, you know, keep my lights on and keep me making shows. So nothing much changes. It's not that big a deal. It doesn't matter if there's a tipping point or a consensus turn, because nothing would change, would it, Neil?
I see what's happening here. I see what's happening. You're in a little bit of fear that if it hits critical mass and a tipping point, your show's not going to be relevant anymore. I understand that. We will become a teaching channel, okay? We are already. It's under education. Am I correct?
Yeah, that would be nice. See, that would be something I could aspire to. So if that was the case for me, I could look at it as, okay, right, well, there's been lots of Globe Earth educational channels that have got millions of views and make a plenty good living, which I don't currently. But if everyone knew it was flat, then this would just become the same educational channel about Earth and its measured nature, that the Globe Earth channels that would fade into obscurity because they're not useful anymore would be replaced with me as a long-standing declarer of how Earth is measured flat. Suddenly it is a genuine education channel that has a worthy share factor from the YouTube algorithmic point of view, and suddenly I can make a living from it. Well, nothing would change, right? So if nothing changes either way, other than potentially I could replace the education system in Globe Earth with Flat Earth, if that moved from them to me. But that's hypothetically speaking. But right here, right now, it doesn't actually make any difference. That's what I'm going to be talking about in 2025 moving forward. It's not that big a deal. It always was flat. If you happen to know that the religion you've been born and bred into is a globe shape that came from those measurements, and you know the origin measurements, as on screen now, creates a surplus to requirement ball wrapped around a flat plane you're actually using, if you know that, then good for you. You know the origins of the Globe Earth religion too. And you don't have to go around telling people that they're not on a globe if they want to believe they're actually on that reified model, as depicted on screen now. You can just leave people to it. If they want to believe they're on this when you're in it measuring flat planes, surplus to requirement, the globe might as well be a protractor because that's all it represents, giving you a perspective view of the sky in a celestial sphere, off a flat plane in all instances. Then when you know that, there's nothing else to know about this subject. You know how Earth is measured, it's flat, and you know how the globe is created from the flat Earth measurements. What else is there to do?
Continue to teach.
That's what we'll do.
Continue to educate.
Exactly what I said at the beginning of the show.
So we get back to share the show then, I guess. I guess you're right.
Yeah, 83 people watching. Are we halfway through the show yet? Yeah, just gone halfway through. About the right number of people. We'll get to 100 before we end. I'll be pleased with the number of people that have come and gone.
No,
Got-
that bothers me. That bothers me. You've been at this how many years? And all we can get is 100, 120. There's got to be something we could do to get this out to more than 100 people watching.
Well, Brian's here now. He's a big pull.
Brian,
have a
what do we got to
question for you,
do, Brian?
Nathan.
Say
Yeah,
again?
hey Nathan. Hello everyone. Yeah, you know this thing that you're trying to push, this nothing would change nonsense.
Nothing would change nonsense. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Navigation would fundamentally change if everybody knew we weren't on a ball, would it, Brian?
I think you're missing the point.
That'd
Tell
be a
the
no.
audience that nothing would change is dishonest.
He's missing it big time, Brian.
Yeah, because there's several problems. Number one, you don't know what's going to happen. Number one. Number two, you could pretty say you wouldn't need to be a betting man to say that there will most definitely be change in the world. What that change will be, I don't know, but the
For
things
me?
will most definitely change.
For me?
Yeah. For you, you're punting this out to an audience, right? That you're going to tell everyone nothing's going to change for 2025. Depends on who you are and what your views are.
I didn't say anything's going to change. That's not how I phrased it. It's not that big a deal.
That's how people are perceiving it.
Nothing's going to change.
There's a bigger problem.
Just let me say the statement. It's not that big a deal.
It depends on who you're talking about. It could be an unbelievably life-changing massive deal for someone else.
Not for me.
Not for you, but that you can't. That's just you speaking. You're not stating that you're just speaking about you. You're talking about you're trying to punt it out to an audience that nothing's going to change, as if it means for everybody.
There's a caveat.
You can't say that.
Let me just stop stringing you along. Nothing much changes, or nothing changes at all when it comes to how Earth functions. How Earth is measured has not and will not change. Earth is measured flat and always was. It's no big deal. It'll continue to be flat and measured as such. When I say it's no big deal, nothing much is going to change. I'm talking about the measurement specifically, because it always was, currently is, and always will be measured flat. That's just how it is. Ergo, no big deal. What's going to change when asked? Well, nothing much. It always was flat. That's how I'm skewing that to nuance it.
Yeah, but that's not how you're selling it. How you were trying to sell this, maybe you've changed your position. How you were trying to sell this a week or two ago to me, right, was that to the people who think there will be huge change in the world, right, to those people who are worried about, you know what I mean, or the guy who says, so what would be the difference if it was flat? It's that guy that you're going to be telling that nothing's going to change. Well, that's not true.
I gave a reverse example, but yes, you're right, but just with a slightly different slant on it. I was talking about the guy we talk to, who, when the information generally is presented to him or her, says in response, what difference does it make? I've still got to go to work tomorrow. And I go along with him, I lean into that, I say, and go, well, yeah, it always was measured flat. It is currently being utilised flat, and tomorrow it still will be a measurably flat Earth. So if you want to consider it along those lines with that nuance of a guy saying, what difference does it make to me? Well, not a lot. No big deal. It always was flat. And functionally won't change if you know tomorrow or don't. It doesn't make any difference. It'll still be measured flat. So who cares from that guy's point of view?
Yeah, but you just kind of, when you're saying to someone it's measured flat, it doesn't matter. Everything's just going to be the same.
It will be.
You're trying to sell, you're selling Yeah, but you're just stating a fact that you understand that they don't fully understand. Like, if I go by what you've been stating, right, and this 2025 thing, which you say that you're going to be pushing this agenda in 2025, why you decide to have an agenda, I don't know. But that's on you, it's your show. At that point, based off of your sentiment, you may as well stay on the globe then. I
But
might
it's
as well
not.
go back
Stay.
to the
Hold on.
globe.
I can
You might
stay
as
in
well
the.
go back to the
Hold on.
globe.
Hold on. I
What's the
can't stay
point?
on the globe. I never.
What's
Hold
the
on.
point of your, what's
Hold
the
on.
point of
Uh,
your show?
hello. Yeah, I got that.
It's become pointless at that stage.
I got that. Yeah, I can stay in the globe, but metaphorically or in terms of reification, I was never, and you were never, and nobody is ever on a globe. Ever.
Yeah, that's correct. But the point I'm making
How could I stay
is,
on it, as you suggested I did?
what? Why? Yeah, but I'm not. But why? Okay, right. Wrong phraseology. But what's? Even that doesn't matter though. Did I phrase it wrong?
Oh, it does, because,
But
no, see,
it
that's
doesn't
what,
matter.
it
But
does
it doesn't
matter.
matter based off
Hello?
of your sentiment.
Yeah, that's
Based
the
off of
point.
your agenda for 2025, it doesn't matter.
No, that's the point. At the point that you understand this information, right, as I've just nuanced, you then know that you were never on a reified globe surface, and the maths would indicate your utilization of it from within the globe. So upon understanding this stuff, that's the point that I say to the guy, yeah, it don't make no difference. You can still believe, if you wish, that you're inside a globe, but you can't transition back to what you put to me. Well, you might as well stay on the globe. I never was on it, now I understand this information. That's the point. So moving into 2025, I still want every little detail of this information, how Earth is measured flat, how the globe was created with those measurements, to be instilled in every audience member. But once you know that, as you phrased it to me, you can't go back on the globe. You never were on a globe, were you? That mathematical creation that you utilise from within, if you choose to extrapolate out very useful flat Earth measurements into a globe surplus to requirements, you can choose to do that and believe you're in it if you want to, now you have this knowledge. But life won't change. We always measured Earth flat and always will. So you can still take your nonchalant, what difference does it make attitude to relinquish the notion of having to look into it, because that's why they fob you off with that notion. Oh, what difference does it make even if it was speculatively flat? No, sir, it is flat for all of the reasons I'm going to educate you with. But it still makes no difference to you. It always was when anybody navigated it previously. And if you go on a plane today or sail anywhere, and tomorrow it'll be no different. It's still measured flat, even if you want to retain your globe belief after I've passed this information to you. No big deal.
You just said something. You
Go
just
on.
said something.
Go.
When you're speaking to that person, to that guy, you're saying it won't make any difference to you. You can't tell them that.
I can in the vein that they...
And if it wouldn't make any
let me
difference
address
to
you.
whenever,
God, you keep putting these
we may
things
as
and
well
keep
always just
waffling.
go
You
back
won't
to the
stop.
fact that
I
believe
urge you,
it.
and you're not stopping talking after you've put the thing to me. Yeah, I got you. Thank you. I just like to respond without having to fight my way through you after you've put it to me. Yeah, I got
to
it.
me, like I'm getting in the way of an agenda.
I can in the sentiment of the guy when he puts it to me that I've still got to go to work tomorrow. Along those lines of the guy that I suggest, well, no, Earth's flat, mate. Oh, yeah. And with a tone of, if I was to look into this and it was speculatively flat, what difference would it make? I've still got to go to work tomorrow. Well, I can put all of the information to better educate that guy in Earth, sphericity, origins, flat Earth, that is, and at the end state as he stated, his sentiment will be echoed to him or her. It still makes no difference like you suggest, sir. You've still got to go to work tomorrow, as have all the sailors who will navigate Earth flat, as have all the planes that go into the air and deal with a flat plane beneath them. Doesn't change for them and it won't change for you. Still got to pay your mortgage. You just lean into it. That's what I'm driving at. For him, that guy.
Yeah, but did anyone make the claim that he wouldn't have to go to work the next day?
No, but plenty of people say, what difference does it make?
Yeah, massive difference. But you're trying to tell him.
Why try and
from your
appeal?
point of view, they're not going to be taking on board what you're trying to put across.
It's just measurements. You know how it's measured.
They're not thinking that they're thinking this guy is trying. If I was that guy, I'd be thinking. If I was that guy, I'd be thinking, this fella's telling me nothing's going to change. That will either bring me two directions. Number one, I will either go, well, I might as well stay thinking I'm on a globe then. Or number two, I will go, what does it mean nothing's going to change?
Earth will always be measured flat.
It will either be a completely nonchalant hand wave away and no interest in the subject again, or it will be him getting angry because you're telling him nothing's going to change when a lot is likely to change.
Maybe it won't. Maybe he'll just carry on paying his mortgage and making love to his beautiful wife. Who cares? For him, it might not change anything. My point is that that river flows both directions. For me, when this subject is being discussed with next man, hypothetically in this example, it flows for me also. What difference does it make to me if you know how Earth's measured or not? I don't care. I've still got to e-beg to pay my electricity bill tomorrow, whether you, fundy globe believer or anti-flat earther, know it's measured flat or not. It flows both. What difference does it make to me as the person appealing to this next man, if they know or not? What difference does it make to you if you convince... Who did you last debate with, Brian? Whoever. Mr. X.
Whoever, I don't know.
Yeah, whoever you last discussed this with. What difference does it make to you if you convert them? If they then, at the end of the discussion, go, oh, wow, thank you, Brian. I mean, this, heaven forbid, would happen. It wouldn't. Thank you, Brian, for educating me in my error. I now appreciate Earth is actually flat. Thank you so much. Okay, great. Take it from a positive stance. What difference does that make to you when they toddle off and you never hear from them again, Brian?
Hold on, Brian. Hold on.
Ask Brian.
All right, I'm after Brian.
Just managed to put the question to him. Keep it going.
Yeah, this is dodgy, Neil. What difference does it make to me?
Yeah.
The question, how has this got to do with me? You're the one going to be telling people nothing's going to change. And they're going to hear, all they're going to hear is that. And that's going to be patently false.
No, you're taking in some isolated example that I've got with a whole set of circumstances around it. In the set of circumstances, the discussion comes up and the hand wave you get from the guy is, I'm still going to go to work tomorrow. What difference does it make? Yeah, well.
Maybe not.
Oh, my God. Yeah, can you carry on, Neil?
You're not addressing the main point. You keep saying nothing's going to change. Let me ask you a question. The whole world tomorrow knows Earth is flat and outer space is fake. I know an agency that has ripped off many people, and maybe we can get some of that money back, and maybe you don't have to beg to pay your freaking electric bill, all right? Because there's a company out there that's draining the taxpayers' dollars.
Oh, my God. Well, then spend your useful time on Earth litigating with some big corporate entity, because that'll be a worthy endeavor. Oh, my God. Maybe you'll get some of your tax. Maybe you'll get $20 over your lifetime back from them, Neil. Maybe.
You're downplaying it.
That's you're getting in the way of the agenda. This is only going to get you banned off the show, but nothing's going to change.
What are you talking about? This is great.
Bring back to, I wish 2022 Nathan was back.
What are you babbling about? This ham-handed an attempt at undermining me with an attack. Like, past Nathan's bad. Oh, I'm getting rumpus by Brian. No, your ham-handed attack attempt won't succeed. My caveat example... No, I am going to get rumpused. Go ahead, John.
I was just saying the difference in what y'all are talking about, you're not really talking to each other's points. Nathan's pointing out that for an individual, knowing this information, it isn't going to change the world. That's true. But Neil took it to if everyone knew, which that would change the world. You're talking about a very slow sliding scale of information as it's disseminated. You're not. We may never see the effects of this.
You're wrong.
John, There's an
I'm trying to
agenda at
figure out
play.
how to all
Don't get in
5
the way of
voices
it.
how you heard John.
Let me just caveat. Right, John, you just said that if everybody knew tomorrow, it would, quote, change the world. Correct? I know I am. I listened.
Well, it would change the political landscape.
Sorry, do you need to just change that linguistically, do you? Just because you know exactly what I'm about to say. So he didn't say it would change the political landscape. Political landscape's certainly not what we discuss here, is it? Shut up, Brian. You know what's coming too. Everyone knows what's coming suddenly, don't they? Everyone wants to talk. So, John, let's just try that once more. White Knights, please hold your tongues. It would change the world, would it? If everyone knew. No, you are wrong.
No. Yes, I am wrong.
I love it.
I used the wrong.
Then what are we doing?
Thank you, John. I'll take it from here. I'll take it from here. Thank you. Thank you, White Knights. Thank you. Thank you. The winner will continue on his point.
Don't get in the way of the agenda.
Don't get in the way of Nathan making a concise point that's on topic. Yeah, nothing will change. Absolutely nothing. The world will not fold or unfold tomorrow just because you, Joe Bloggs Normie, find out that Earth is functionally flat. It was yesterday functionally flat, and it will be tomorrow. Nothing will change about, quote, the world. It will remain as it was, and it will remain that way. Regardless if you knowing, or you, as every ant in the anthill knowing. Who cares if you know or not? It makes no difference. The world will not change. Now, in this vein, nuanced... Oh, I'm not going to get to caveat my point, getting rumpus by the sick man.
It's the pushing of the agenda, not the caveating of an
agenda. It's a fact. Nothing will change. That's a fact about the world.
Why do I got to be labeled the sick man?
Neil, what Nathan is trying to say, right? This will break down Nathan's massive, supposed brilliant point that if the Earth was known to be flat tomorrow, trains will still exist. Well, F me.
Trains?
Said y'all are kind of talking past each other.
I understand what he's saying. The world has always been flat, yes. But you can't tell me that this system will not change. Of course it's going to change. It's a paradigm shift.
Now we're getting somewhere. What's a paradigm, Neil?
Okay. Did it not shift when the whole world was
What's a paradigm?
supposedly a globe?
What's a paradigm? Is a paradigm the world, or is it a perception of something?
Yeah. You're missing what I'm saying here, Nathan. You're doing it deliberately.
I'm not missing anything, I assure you. I'm going to shout out a super chat, though. Oh, hold on. I'm going to be accused of having an agenda if I want to shout out Goldie. Shout out Goldie for the super chat. It says, excuse me, it would change my world, full stop. My poor husband would know for sure that yet another thing his wife enlightened him about was in fact true. Girl power, go for you. Good for you, Goldie. I'll just bring it up on screen so people can see how it was written. Thank you very much for the super chat. And indeed, you are, in fact, female, Goldie, so I'm pretty sure your husband knows that you are always right under all circumstances. So that goes without saying. I don't know why you'd see that as an achievement. He already knew you were right. You're a woman. Thank you for the super chat. Brian,
No,
you were saying something about me having an agenda as opposed to just being correct or something. Go ahead.
Brian, I don't think we'll ever get that 2022 Nathan back. On QE's show. He was outstanding.
He was too good. That was what's wrong with him. He was too good.
Well, what it is...
Something happened in 2023 and we don't know what it was. Sorry, John.
Nathan's right about the world not changing. That is correct. But the people and how they perceive this world change.
John, didn't you once say, hold on, didn't you once say that maybe it's good that they have people on a globe? I remember you used to say that. There were reasons why it's better that people think we're on a globe.
Me?
No, John.
I've said that.
2022 and Nathan wouldn't have said me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's
John.
this sociopathic people climb to the highest levels of leadership within our societies. And that makes our societies dangerous inherently. Maybe this is the best thing for that sociopathic structure.
To Goldie for gifting a membership.
I ask a question of John, Brian, and Neil.
Yeah, go ahead, Jado.
If I was appointed the person to raise the status of Nathan's channel, and I wanted to appoint a producer to take Nathan from 26,000 subs to 50,000 subs, how would you guys do it?
If I was going to tell Nathan how to run his show, I wouldn't. I like it how it is. That's why I come here.
I wouldn't either. I love this show.
No, it's not about telling him how to run it. It's he stepped aside. He's appointed me to appoint a producer to improve his show. And I'm asking you guys how you would do it if you wanted to apply for that position.
Topless dancers. I had topless dancers. Was that a suggestion? Just
I
write these
wouldn't
down.
want to.
It's a good
wouldn't-
question. I can't answer it.
Yeah, but
The
this show
format.
has been the show the way it is. Everybody forgets what attracted them to start watching and stay watching Flat Earth Debate. I think people got to realize.
I'm pretty sure they came because they like looking at me. Yes, Nathan. Yes, Nathan. Yeah, we agree. Yeah,
Well,
you're very handsome.
I
Oh,
certainly-
thank you all. You're all so
certainly-
complimentary. Oh, thanks.
Certainly
Well, a lot of people
making
want.
sure that
No, thank you.
this
No,
show
stop,
has
stop,
no
honestly.
connection.
But thank you. I do appreciate it.
A lot of people want everybody to just get along when that's just not going to happen. Right?
Yeah,
The
Why not?
reason
Just
why
wanted
this
to say-
show was great, the reason why this show was great was because it didn't deal with any nonsense. You either validate or take a walk. You're not going to come here with nonsense. It's going to be dealt with internally. If somebody comes up with something that ain't, the dots are not connecting and you can't validate, you're being dealt with. And this is what's happening in Flat Earth Debate. People are talking nonsense and they're going to get dealt with. And that's what made this show number one.
You don't think it was when those male strippers came on, Chippendale? People like topless dancers. I'm looking at the chat now. I'm holding out for topless dancers, says Goldie. See?
Goldie is ace.
Well,
Thank you
what
very
I
much,
definitely
Goldie.
wouldn't do, is I'd be making a point to have zero connection to Jerome Campanella.
There you go.
That
If-
would be number one.
You've struck a chord with me with that, Brian, to answer Jardo's question. So, what would, if I wanted just pure more subs, right? Well, there's only a limited pool of flat earthers to garner. You know, we've been limited, we've been cobbled, however you want to put it. Therefore, the guy that just wants more subs appeals to the audience that we're shunning because of their stupid nonsense about ether. So, the guy who wants more subs, Jardo, goes, you know what? I've had a change of mind. Maybe, just maybe, there's something to this ether. Maybe. I'm going to go and ask Jerem what he thinks about it. Maybe he can enlighten me. There you go. 2,000 more subs. Done.
You might be able to get on a plane to Antarctica.
There you go. There's another one.
That's-
See, we're on a roll now. Do you know what? If I think about it really hard, if they do see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica and I'm on the bottom of a ball, then I'm on the bottom of a ball watching a 24-hour sun happen. Maybe this flat earth thing isn't cracked up as much as I thought it was. That's something I could do, just as another example.
You could start running claimed neutral debate platform.
Oh, that'd be perfect. Brian, you're on a roll. Brian's on fire. I could run a quasi-neutral platform. And anytime anybody even suggested anything that might sound like it's going to prove a flat earth, shut it down or let the opponent waffle through it. No worries. I could do that. The list is endless.
Hold on a sec. With that Antarctic thing, I mean, think about it, guys. If the elevation angle of the sun stays above the horizontal plane of reference.
Somebody interrupt this man. He's talking about horizontal plane of references. Neutral platform here. I think we should have a shout out to super chatters. Please share the show and smash the super chat. Somebody put John on mute, please. Neutral platform.
Yeah,
I was about, you didn't make
the sun, not the ground.
conclusion.
The sun proves what the ground is. You're not getting it.
Yeah, antipodal
Right,
assumptions,
you know,
blah, blah,
it's,
blah. Globe Earth. I think your time is done, John. It's only reasonable that you don't get to talk anymore, and I'll just mumble my way through anything that you object to. Can you stop interrupting me, please,
I'm
John?
trying to agree with you, right? If the elevation angle of the sun...
I said angle! Stop him! Neutral platform.
You're not letting me get to the crescendo that supports your side.
I just hear angles and
You
flat
don't
earth
wanna
stuff
know?
that's definitely in need of shutting down, in spite of your suggestion that this is going to help
I've
me on a
never
globe.
said that.
This is a neutral platform here, John, and what you're doing is pretty disgusting. And, you know, you're basically a moron flat earther, and really you shouldn't be doing it. It's not fair that you keep interrupting me. So can someone put this guy on mute permanently?
I'm trying to support the globe. That's what I'm trying to do. Why won't you let me?
Doesn't sound like it.
Well, it's because you're looking
Not
at
in the
some of the
right
words
way,
I'm saying.
Raj.
Hold on a sec. If the elevation angle of the sun stays above the horizontal plane of reference for a 24-hour period, that means there's no horizontal plane of reference.
Yeah, there's no
You
horizontal. No, there is a horizontal plane of reference. It's just that horizontal plane of reference is antipodal from where I am currently if I were to go down to Antarctica. And we can still have horizontal planes of references on spheres that don't have straight or horizontal anything. But that's a problem for another person. If I'm
We can
antipodal,
call
then...
them tangents.
There you go, tangent, John, tangent. Shh. Stays above if the sun stays above the tangent for 24 hours, John, that squares that circle and shuts you down good and proper. Globe belief's fine. Anyway, we could do that on neutral platform. I'm sick of this role play. 90 people watching. So, thank you, John. Yes, thank you for allowing me to rumpus you on the neutral platform that we're definitely not pretending to be. There's no need for neutrality in this discussion anymore. Sorry, John, go ahead.
I was trying to be neutral and give them their logic. Y'all just won't allow me. I'm appalled.
Yeah, because the logic that you're presenting, as much as I know you're doing it from a point of view that any normal, reasonable globe believer would be entrapped into listening to, and then being forced to comprehend the nature of a flat plane that is required to create their ball. You can only be perceived to be helping them. You're offering them advanced heliocentric understanding. Right, John?
That was my hope. Education is our first.
Well, there is benefits. You see, according to Jado, Jaron Campanella is very good at answering people back via email and text and everything else, but Nathan, you're no good at that.
No, I'm not. No,
according to Jado.
I'm useless at that.
Of course. Yeah. Unless the only time that you get any good out of you is a super chat.
Oh, no. If you give me money, then you'll definitely get a response from me. People who send me money on PayPal, they definitely get a response. Sometimes they even get a live shout out.
I don't think Nathan is going to dispute that for 1 second, to be honest.
Me being a whore? I'm a total whore.
What's
So
the
this is-
relevance of Nathan's whoredom? I don't get it.
Is that a word? Whoredom? This has been fun.
Yeah,
Brian wanted to take a specific example of a scenario where a guy who says, "Oh, what difference does it make?" and turns it into an expanded notion that me saying nothing much will change, Earth will still be measured flat, as in nothing will change, everything stops because of that statement. like everything in any scenario that's exclusive of Earth and its measurements and then factually not changing, and how we functionally deal with Earth literally being the same, and me leaning into that for that guy. But Brian wanted to make it isolated and, no, things will change. Well, obviously, I might not have hot dogs tomorrow, Brian. That'll be a change. And flat or otherwise, there's going to be change, right? Entropy doesn't cease. I understand that.
No,
yeah, but that's still.
Brian wants to make public the master B conversations. That's what Brian wants to do.
There is no reconciliation between the idea that you're sending things up to space and everyone knowing that you require a container for gas pressure, therefore their notion of space is fake. That will cause problems, and that's why it will never be accepted.
Don't lose anything. I can still argue the toss regardless of it being an undoing of a fantasy that doesn't exist. There isn't any loss. We're not mining. We're not like, look at all the extra gold we've got because we're mining the sky so efficiently. Oh no, it turns out we don't have that gold from the sky they said they were efficiently mining. It literally produces nothing. So net loss 0 if it all went away tomorrow. I mean, literally. There's no Emperor's New Clothes coming from the sky, is there?
Well, all those people that were employed fabricating the clothes that doesn't exist, they will be put in a position of they are either complacent, ignorant, or willfully involved in committing a crime.
Yeah, I guess if you're an employee of NASA, you've got plausible deniability as far as I'm concerned, to the point where when we moan about NASA, we will only pin the tail on the donkey of astronauts in terms of that lie that you just described. I wouldn't ascribe any blame to anybody that's creating some gyroscopic gimbal that's going to go into a space shuttle that never really goes up into a place that doesn't exist. Just because there's people sewing fur coats for the people who will go through the wardrobe, I have no ill will to the guy who sat at a sewing machine making that fur coat. The fact that there's people who go on the news and say, yes, I did go through the wardrobe and I did see Aslan and look at the fur coat I'm wearing. It's like, well, that doesn't lead me to have any ill will to the guy sewing the fur coat. Likewise with all the employees at NASA.
Right. And like I said, there'll be the ignorant and the complacent. The complacent ones will go down with the ones who are willfully committing the fraud. But then you have to look at the universities, at astrophysics, the pseudosciences that have claimed science to give the idea that this place exists. Will they be able to reconcile? There's a lot of stuff that would happen that people will not accept, and that's why it's so hard to get anyone to understand.
Yeah, and that is a different guy on a different day to the one that Brian wants to critique me on, though, innit? Let's be honest. It was a fun discussion. Very, very fun. We have actually got one short video that I did want to cover that somebody sent to me. Is it this or is it this?
Before you do, I want to know why I was labeled sick man.
You are. You're literally off at home sick.
Injured.
Same thing. Anyway, we've got a video to cover. So this is FUKIYO. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly or not. Nevertheless, please let he or she or whoever they are know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment in their comment section that just lets them know we've responded to their video. I think it was Liam that shared this with me earlier this morning. Responding to it cold, so we'll check out what it is. I have literally no idea. The name of the video is Someone Said Earth Was Flat. So let's have a listen. It's only a very short video.
said Earth was flat.
This is why I think Earth is flat. Only 5 people
Oh my God. That's horrendous audio. Ugh.
have ever been to space, and they're
What?
all saying the Earth is round. But
What a funny coincidence that we'd be talking about people who are liars that have claimed to traverse a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum. No, we'd all be dead, mate. The gas we're breathing would expand into that sky vacuum they say they're going to. The ones that say it's round, they're liars. Some of the few that we can actually label as liars. Metaphorically, by comparison, nobody's gone through the wardrobe to Narnia. Nobody's going to a sky vacuum to look at Earth as a sphere. You just trust them, don't you, son? Sad with your overloaded mic.
what if they're lying? Until
What if they're lying? They are lying. We know that for a fact.
I go to space and see the Earth with my
You're not going to. It's a hypothetical appeal to the future fallacy.
own 2 eyes, I
You're not going to. It's an appeal to the future fallacy.
won't believe the Earth is
It's also a
completely
special
round.
pleading.
Yeah, special pleading, correct.
Yep.
I'm not even sure space is a real thing. How
It isn't. It's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills space. So if the sky was a space, gas would fill it. We'd be dead. Go ahead. Oh, I thought someone was trying to add to me.
how do we know? We've never seen it. A lot of people nowadays are just
So is that, how do we know it isn't fake because we haven't seen it? How do I know Narnia isn't real when I've not been through the wardrobe? When I do go through the wardrobe, it will validate my automatic belief that Narnia is real. This is his logic.
sheep. If you tell a blind person the ocean is green, they're gonna believe you because they've never seen it. So
Well, that's actually true. I am, in fact, colourblind, and there has been multiple examples where someone has told me something is a specific colour, and then from that point forward, I accept it as what I am told. I'll give you an example. I was told that in where I'm sitting now, right, this carpet, although it's long since been replaced, was cream. Or somebody led me to believe it was cream. So I always assumed I had a cream carpet until one day one of my now divorced brother's wife, former wife, her friend, who was Swiss German, came in and was like, "Oh, you have a pink carpet." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" She's like, "Your carpet is horrible, it's pink." I'm like, "No, it's not, it's cream." I'm like, "No, it's pink, it's horrible." And I phoned my sister and I'm like, "Is my carpet pink?" She was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Why didn't you tell me?" She's like, "Why would I tell you what colour your own carpet is?" I'm like, "Well, because I thought it was cream. I've always seen it as cream." But that's only because someone told me it was cream. And it wasn't, it was pink. But not knowing what colours are, if you're told something and you don't know, you accept it as you are told if you can't discern differently yourself. As per your example.
what if the people that have been to space
They haven't. There is no Narnia. There is no sky vacuum.
if space actually exists, what if they just told us that it exists, but we can't confirm because we've never seen it?
That is the situation, you dumbass. There are people who say they've been to space and you can't confirm it because you haven't been and you will never go. It's a violation of a law of nature called the second law of thermodynamics. That's entropic law, gas dispersion. Gas fills space, it expands into volumes.
This is another reason why I believe the Earth is flat. If Earth
Yeah, go ahead.
I was about to say he phrased that entirely wrong.
He's phrasing it as a
Can't
sarcastic.
confirm it.
He's being. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You can't confirm it exists. That's no. You can confirm that it doesn't exist because of what you know. You know that gas fills space. What you don't know will never contradict what you do know. It's just how it is.
was round like a ball, why doesn't the water from the oceans fall into space?
So, in your presupposed sarcastic flat Earth position, your suggestion would be that Earth would drain from an automatically presupposed spherical surface. No, that's an automatically assumed spherical surface that me as a flat earther have no concern with anymore. I can explain how you, sarcastic though you're being, have a delusion that you're on a spherical surface. That's why you superimpose it onto a flat earther's sarcastic point of view.
Right? It's supposed to fall if the water's upside down. So
Antipodal. You don't even know the terminology of your own religion of heliocentrism. Yeah, in your world of antipodal positioning, where mapped into sphericity from flat Earth angle measurements to the stars, you have a believer's perspective based on a nonsensical force that you can think of as a force that isn't really a force, called gravity, that stops the world having antipodal positioning, and every position, mathematically speaking only, is the top. So you have no concerns for why water would fly off it. But if you ever were to try and investigate the reification of your fantasy ball that you believe you are on, sarcastic being a flat earther that you are, that would need a force to hold the water there in fantastical reification. But there is no necessity for me as a flat earther to concern myself with why water isn't draining from the bottom of your reified ball. It's a lot to unpack when he's doing it in a sarcastic way, but I don't mind doing it. It's a challenge.
why wouldn't the water fall off this planet? Something I also don't get is, why does it snow at the top of mountains? Isn't the mountain supposed to be hotter because you're getting closer to the sun?
It's one of those questions that we ask daily, given that you've got a heliocentric sphere Earth distance to the sun, based on flat Earth measurements, I might add. We don't make such claims. I mean, you're being sarcastic about a straw man position that flat earthers don't take. As I say, this is quite a lot to unpack, but it was fun. Glad it was short. A lot to unpack in such a short video.
Why is there snow? Does the sun
Why haven't you figured out what a gain control does? Horrible. Absolutely horrible. You're on offense to my eardrums, my friend.
even exist? If you have the answers, let me know, because I don't believe that any of this stuff exists.
Your misrepresentation of me as a flat earther in the straw man feast and nonsense spewing garbage that you want me to be is also an outrage to my ears. It's an affront to everything that I actually stand for. Know this, Earth's measured flat. I have no concern about why water doesn't drain from an antipodal positioned belief in a ball that came from flat Earth measurements. To be sarcastic about it as you are being. I know Earth is flat, that's how it's measured. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Please let this dude, FUKIYO, no, at Nathan Oakley 1980. I really enjoyed that. I'm going to even give it a like. Leave this dude a comment, because I actually, as much as it might sound like I've got disdain for this dude, I did actually quite enjoy covering that, because it was a bit of a mouthful to unpack with him taking a sarcastic position as a flat earther, right? Spewing the feast of nonsense. Ed?
That's exactly what it was. It is the position that they hear us say. That's what they want to argue with, what that guy just did. They don't want to deal with the points we put forward. They want to change it into something else to argue with. That dude's name should be Straw Man.
Indeedy. Well, it's sarcastic straw man. Weird, isn't it? Sarcastic straw man stereotype. Anyway, I've put a link to his video. Please let that videographer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed from the YouTube bots, or by him himself if he's responding to you as a videographer. So leave a polite comment that basically alludes to the fact that we've made a response video. Hopefully, if he was to respond to us, he'd do the same for us and put a link to a Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube video in his video, and share in the YouTube algorithmic love that we definitely don't receive as flat earthers. So hopefully he'll leave him a comment and he'll do the same for us if you respond. Yeah, John.
And just to top it off, his antipodal understanding is only with respect to the plane of reference. All antipodal positions are 90 degrees to the plane of reference.
Yeah, in other words, is anti-flat earth strawman stereotype had an upside down water dripping off it, but in reality, that antipodal position with respect to a plane of reference needs a plane of reference. Or to put it more succinctly, he'll need a flat earth for that stereotype that he's being sarcastic about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, you don't expect it to be so like long-winded and obscure to unpack, but when someone's being sarcastic, it is clever in a way to make a video like that, but it does make it that little bit more complicated to unpack. Like I say, and I do enjoy a challenge. Everyone else enjoy that as much as I did. Yes,
That's pretty
Nathan,
funny.
topless ladies. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was good.
Mumble. Wonderful.
I found it
The
hard
judge
to
just won.
listen in because he was shouting a load of stuff. I just didn't finish. I just tuned out.
You switched out because of the god-awful overloaded mic that he was using.
Well, it's like a mechanism I have for when someone's coming at me with a lot of things at one time. I just kind of turn off, switch off, stop it coming in. So it just ends up just being words, not having any meaning.
Oh, the twat filter. Yes, I've got one of those. I can switch it on to. Any more?
It happens to me when I'm talking. It happens to me when I'm talking to Witsit.
Yeah, the twat filter.
Yeah, because Witsit waffles.
That was my defense for you, Brian. The judge is here, by the way. I wanted to have a sidebar with him.
Just as I'm about to round out. In all seriousness, though, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you. Smash the super chat. Hit me up on PayPal and Ko-Fi and all that good stuff. And, of course, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.